Today I'm going to share with you my top 10 tips that are frugal and allergy friendly for going to a water park resort. Well, hi friends, if you're new here, my name is Erin and I'm an allergy mama who loves to bring you products, tips, and taste tests and things to make your life living with food allergies just a little bit easier. So lately, if you're like us, just the winter doldrums have set in. We've had illness, snowstorms, power outages, ER visits, you name it all. It's been a rough January and we are ready for a little bit of a break, but if you're like us, we don't have the time or the money to jet off to Florida to enjoy the beach right now. So thankfully for us, we are just a couple hours drive from the water park capital of the world, Wisconsin Dells. And so we're gonna take a quick trip there tomorrow to celebrate all of our kids' birthdays. They all have winter birthdays and it's really hard to get everyone healthy and well and get parties planned. So we decided for this year, we're just gonna take them for a quick overnight trip and enjoy our time there. But I wanted to share with you all the tips that I've learned along the way for planning a water park resort trip, because while they can be an inexpensive option, they can also break the bank if you're not careful. So stick with me as I go through my top 10 tips. If you have not gone to at least your local pool yet with many food allergies, I recommend you give that a try first, just because new experiences are really hard. And if you haven't navigated the local pool, I could see that going to a water park resort would be quite challenging, especially your first day. And so going to your local pool would be a great way to get your feet wet and get some tips under your belt for navigating those circumstances first. Now, there are also some awesome ways so you can try out a local pool in the wintertime without breaking the bank too. If you don't have a gym membership or just want to try one out, a lot of our local gyms will give you like a one-day trial, or even some of them do a whole week trial where you can try out all of their facilities without signing up and without paying. So that can be a great way to try out a pool. Also, our local swim school, Goldfish, does have open swim hours where you can pay for family open swim, which is also a great choice. All right, let's get into my top tips for saving money and being allergy friendly at a local water park resort, or one far away too. So first of all, use those coupons and compare them, especially during Black Friday this year and right around holidays. A lot of the big resorts have awesome coupons online, but they're not all created equal. I saw some really awesome Groupons that I thought were a really great deal, and they were, except for when I started looking more carefully, the resorts themselves had even better coupons than Groupon. So it was worth comparing them to find which one was best for our circumstance, especially considering the Groupons often are only available for certain room types. So you want to make sure that not only is your room situation available for the coupon, but that it's the best coupon you can find too. Probably my biggest tip is to go during non-peak times. I know this one is really hard because we want to go on vacations when our kids are off school and when it works for work, but those peak days are so expensive. So going from a Sunday to a Monday, the price was a third the cost of going on those peak days, Friday and Saturday. And so we were able to book a suite room that has like a bunk bed in it and stuff, and only costs about, I would say, $200 after all of those resort fees. Beware, the price you see when you click purchase is not your final price. They will get you with those resort fees. So I think the price advertised was $150, and by the time the resort fees were done, it was about $200. And so if we had chosen to go during those peak days that we would have preferred, it was going to be $350 or $400 before the resort fees. And so choosing your day wisely really does make a difference. Also, think about whether or not you want to actually stay overnight. Our first choice is to stay overnight at the resort, but if you didn't know, a lot of these water parks include your arrival day and your departure day in your water park passes. So for us, it was cheaper to book a one-night stay for a Sunday night, even if we chose not to actually stay at the hotel room, than it would be to purchase 5 separate water park passes, because it was $200, like I mentioned, for that hotel stay, but it would have been $250 plus tax for all of us to just do a one-day pass. So this way we do have the option of staying overnight. We're gonna go for it, and if something comes up or if someone comes sick, we'll come home, but we'll know that we maximized at least the price opportunity to maximize your hours at the water park. So like I already mentioned, you can come in at the place we're going to, when they open the day of your arrival, all the way until when they close on your departure day. So because we aren't necessarily going to stay overnight, that's the hope, but we're going to make sure we arrive right when they open on a Sunday morning, because then my kids can play for hours and hours. Whenever they get tired or whatever happens, then we'll know our time is done. My next tip, and the most allergy conscious one, is to bring your own food. I know us allergy mamas do all the cooking all the time, and sometimes we just want to get away, and that's okay too. If your budget allows, you go for it and you find those safe restaurants and you do all the things, and that's awesome. And I know some water parks are particularly allergy friendly, or at least known for it. This is not a sponsored video, by the way, but I do know that Great Wolf is touted as more allergy friendly than many of the others, and so you may want to just go away and have someone else cook food for you, and that's awesome. But if you're on a tight budget, or if it just isn't feasible for your allergies, bringing all of your own food is a great way to get to go have fun and not stress about food as well. I have been trying to branch out and get us to go to more restaurants and try to budget for going out and trying to get those experiences in, and so I was hoping that we could do at least one meal at Great Wolf, and so I reached out to their team of people through email that's supposed to let you know what is safe and all of that, and I haven't heard back yet, which is frustrating. I contacted the resort and they said, oh, they reach out to you the day of. Well, that doesn't help these allergy mamas that need to prepare ahead of time, so I'm going to be anticipating not having food provided for my kiddo, because I have to. We can't know that, you know, we can just show up anywhere and have food that's safe for him. With lots of allergies, that's often the case for you as well, I imagine. But do know in the case of Great Wolf, I believe they are peanut free in terms of their facilities. I don't know that all their suppliers are. That's something that you would have to check into more specifically on their website. So anyways, to deal with the whole food situation, we generally bring all of our food for our family if we can, and then we try to mix it up. So for this particular case, I was hoping that we could eat within the water park that one day, because we're not going to have our hotel room yet. Again, we're maximizing those hours in the water park. And just when you only have 6 or 8 hours in some place, to leave for an hour or two to eat and then come back, you would be losing a lot of your time. And so my plan right now is for those of us without allergies, or at least the easy to manage ones. Shellfish is pretty easy for us in general, for my husband. We are going to eat within the water park. And then I'm going to bring my allergy kiddos food along. If you've seen my videos before, you know that we absolutely love our HeatsBox Go. It is our battery-powered self-heating lunchbox, and I have a full review I'll link down below. Since I haven't heard back from Great Wolf about whether or not they have safe food for my kiddo, I'm bringing it along. And even though they have their water park rules that you cannot bring any carry-ins, that doesn't apply to people with disabilities. If they had told me they had safe food available and that they could make it for him, then that would be an exception. And then they would be right in saying I shouldn't bring food in. Now, if they end up giving me a whole stink about it, which I'll try to update you at the end how it goes, I'm still gonna have this, and my kiddo and I can step into the lobby and heat up his food there and then come back in. That's not gonna be our first choice, but hey, you do what you got to do to feed your kiddo safely. So we're bringing this. We'll have all of his hot dogs, and he is thrilled about it. I always make sure that I set the expectation ahead of time for him so he knows what we are and are not doing. That just helps eliminate any surprises, and then he's not confused why someone else might be eating something that he can't have. So that's just something that we do to make it a little easier for him. So some of our favorite meals for trips away from the house are just those same freezer meals that reheat perfectly in the microwave, because again, that's how we're going to be reheating them. So just use your favorites. Our personal favorites are having tacos or nacho bars type things, as well as having burger patties that are fully cooked that we can just reheat in the microwave, burritos, pasta bar, so you can pre-cook your favorite pasta at home and put some oil and or some salt on it to help keep the noodles all separated, and then you can reheat those in the microwave with your favorite sauce and meatballs. Let's see, what else have we also done? Hot dog bar is also a favorite. If you have a safe canned chili, you can make it a chili bar, or if you can have cheese, a chili cheese bar, all the things. And that makes it really awesome because you already know your family loves those foods. I never recommend people bring foods on any form of trip that their kids already don't like. I mean, maybe your kids are more adventuresome than mine. Sometimes we love to branch out, but sometimes we just want our good old favorites. Also, I love these containers that I got from Walmart. These are the Sistema ones, and this is a 4-part container that I really love. The reason is because if you notice, the lid comes all the way down to the divided sections. And so for our taco bar this weekend, I'm gonna have our toppings in here, like lettuce, tomatoes, green onions. Not sure what's gonna go in the last one. And so I put all the toppings already in this from home. And so we just show up, I open the containers, everybody can make their safe food, and we move on with our lives. So we always bring our own breakfast along if we can. And so in the days leading up to our trip, I always make and freeze homemade muffins. Now I had a kiddo help me with chocolate chip dispersal on these, and so I've got a whole chocolate mess in this bag. I'm sure they're gonna love it. So I make and freeze our muffins. I put them in my freezer any time in the month before we leave. That way, right before we leave the morning of, I can just grab the frozen muffins, throw them in the bottom of the cooler, and by the next morning they are thawed out and ready to go. And so we bring these along, but then I also have kiddos that just need a lot of protein in the morning. But our favorite allergy-friendly product for lots of protein are these Jones pork breakfast sausage. I get this giant bag at my Costco. They are already fully cooked and they're just heat to serve. And so I'm not gonna bring this whole 3.5-pound bag. That would be excessive. But I'll bring like a couple links per person. I'll throw them in a Ziploc bag and again, toss them in the bottom of my cooler. And then we will have an easy allergy-friendly breakfast for my entire family. So if you are staying at a resort that does not advertise having hotel rooms with microwaves, I recommend you give them a call and see. Many of them have microwaves available that they can put in your room, but sometimes not. So it's just worth an ask, so at least you know going in what the expectations are. Also times I have been known to bring an air fryer along with me, or I also have a review of an electric hot pot that I really love as well. Again, don't break the rules of the resort that you're going to. Some of them do have rules about where you can heat food. Just laying all the options out there for you. Some other great breakfast ideas of things that we've done in the past include grabbing some of those little individual cereal cups at Dollar Tree or Walmart, having shelf-stable things like just your good old granola bars and fruit, as well as safe yogurt and whatnot. A good cooler is an awesome investment. We borrowed one for a road trip recently last summer, and that was awesome. It is on our list to invest in a really great cooler. We just haven't taken the plunge yet. So if you have a favorite cooler, let me know. I've also had my eye out on those plug-in ones that are basically like plug-in refrigerator freezer coolers that I've looked at too. They're expensive, but I could see how they would be an awesome option. I always bring along a few gallon Ziploc bags, so after our ice packs have thawed out, the next few days we can just use the ice machines in the hotel to make sure we keep our cooler nice and cold. Here is my other favorite thing for traveling, is to store and organize our meds as well as our meal prep and snack items in a 3-drawer organizer. Now what this allows us to do is to make sure our food isn't going to get crushed, but it's also easily accessible. I've just begun packing this one. So I have our safe hot dog buns. I have a lot of shelf-stable foods. I always make sure I at least have a day's worth of food along for my kiddo just in case, because sometimes stuff happens. Car trouble, you never know, and I just don't want to ever have to add finding him safe food along the way into our struggles. So I bring things like tuna packets. I have anyone else still going through their stash of Annie's vegan mac and cheese cups? I have a couple left, although he hasn't been wanting them lately. So I bought this little soup container for him because this is a safe option for him. So I just pack all these things in these drawers. Other items that we always bring along are plastic or paper plates, napkins, soap, and silverware. If any of the time there was a time to use plastic silverware, etc., it is when you're on vacation in a hotel room. Here's a look at what I began packing in our snack drawer. So I always bring some shelf-stable safe milk along for my son and safe snacks for everybody else. Another friendly tip for you, if you are going to a place that has, you know, a really neat candy shop or places like that where you could really blow a lot of money. I went to Dollar Tree the other day and I grabbed just a few things. I grabbed one special treat for each of my family members. They even have these Oreo packs, which I thought was interesting. And then having a safe treat for everybody just eliminates the desire to go and spend tons of money on those candy shops, because not only do you not always know what's in the products, especially if they're in big bins, but this way I already know I have my kiddo's favorite. He knows I have his favorite. And so it becomes a non-issue when we walk past those places. We may go by and just take a look for fun's sake to see if there are safe items. But now we know we've got a favorite, and that'll work out great. Another reason I really love using this giant drawer organizer is because not only does it keep our food from being crushed, which is the first reason I use it. I used to just pack things in those giant totes, like you could store your kids' clothes in, and we would stack them in the car. And we still do that for some food, especially if we're going on like a large trip. But this we either keep like right next to the microwave in our hotel room or right outside the bathroom. That way our kids can come out and grab their meds or their toiletries and things. So everyone will put like their toothbrushes in here too. And they can grab them, go into the bathroom, come back out and put them in it. And it's a really easy way to keep track of everybody's meds, know where they are, and then not to have stuff all over your hotel room. The top of this serves as a great place for prepping your food, for like setting out plates while you put condiments on and things like that. And it's a great way to have everything available. It's a little obnoxious, I will say for sure. My husband does not love toting this in and out of hotel rooms, but we have a plan. We keep it in the back of our van. Ours fits perfectly on top of one of those plastic bins, and our trunk will still close perfectly with it. So even then, when we were on our road trip, we kept this in the back of the van, and I would open and close the drawers and make safe food at our stops along the way on our road trip. So always make sure that you have a plan for your emergency medication anytime you leave the house. Again, that's always something that you should be doing. Make sure you have your EpiPens with you, your Zyrtec or Benadryl, whatever is involved in your emergency care plan. Always have it with you and easily accessible. Depending on the person, you may have different things that you do for your allergy situation. So in our case, we know that my kiddo has been navigating pools and water parks and things for the last few years just fine. He's never had an allergic reaction at a pool because his allergies are ingestion only. And so in our case, we're comfortable taking my backpack that I carry with me everywhere that has all of our emergency meds and inhalers and all the things in it. And I'm just gonna leave it at our like Cabana seat, or like, we're not paying for a Cabana, but at our seat where we're gonna have our towels and things, and we are comfortable with that. That is not a safe choice for all people, and I totally recognize that. And so make sure that you always follow your doctor's guidelines on what you should be doing for your situation. And your doctor can often give you specifics as to what you should do. For people who have contact allergies, airborne allergies, or just super low thresholds to their allergies, you may need to carry your EpiPens in a waterproof self-carry bag. There are lots of available options online, which is awesome. I've even seen some lately I've seen some awesome reviews on a few Etsy shops and things too. Just make sure that you always have a plan for your EpiPens, and make sure your family members know what it is. Make sure you bring your safe soap, hand soap, as well as shampoo and eczema meds along with. I have found many hotels have not only unsafe soap for my kiddo, but also just sometimes there's fragrances or other things that he cannot handle on his skin. So we always travel with safe soap. Now this is a new one for us, which I generally don't recommend, but it was hypoallergenic and fragrance free. So we're going to give it a try. I know it doesn't have any of his allergens in it. Whether or not it flares his eczema, we will find out. If you haven't been to a water park a lot, it dries my kiddo's skin out, and he often needs to ramp up his eczema protocols, to even some of his medicated creams to make sure that his skin is well managed. Another tip for you on your vacation is to pre-plan safe restaurants. Now I know for a lot of us allergy mamas, we cook every single meal day in and day out, and you just need a break. I get it. 100%, I'm on board with you. Depending on your allergy situation, you may be able to just show up at a restaurant, have some conversations, and be able to eat safely. If you are in the camp of people like us that is not a safe option, I always go on the website, godairyfree.com, and they have a whole restaurant directory based on what state in the United States you're going to. And then after you click on your state, it is broken down by every single city. And so you can go through and find restaurants with allergy menus. And so I use that as my starting point for my research. I choose a few restaurants and then I start looking at their allergy menus and contacting the managers. And so in the case of us going this weekend to Wisconsin Dells, I have found that Monk's is a very allergy-friendly restaurant. They have good allergy awareness and a very, very detailed allergy menu online, which is amazing. I called this weekend and talked to the manager, and he was reading packages for me and going through all the things. I always like to have a plan for dinner and then have a backup plan for eating out, or the reverse, have a plan for eating out and a backup plan for dinner just in case, so we have all of our bases covered. Here are some other items you probably want to bring along depending on your situation: toys, goggles, your safe sunscreen and floaties, a sun hat and nose plugs depending on your kiddo and what they need. If your family had kiddos with ear tubes, make sure you remember their ear putty and ear headband, your EpiPens, a waterproof sun case, and if you love them, water shoes. Also, if you have a family with asthma, make sure you bring your inhalers. If your family isn't comfortable sitting near people eating most of your foods you're allergic to, it might be worth renting a Cabana. While it's not a frugal or cheap option, it would allow you to have your own designated place to meet up with your family and eat safely. All right, friends, I think that was all 10. I combined a few of those as I went, and so I'm not sure if they actually came out to a legit 10, but I had a whole lot of information in there. I hope that this is helpful for you in planning your trip to a water park resort. If you found this video helpful, would you please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share it with anyone that you think might find it helpful too. Also, I have a couple questions. For those of you that are seasoned water park people, do you buy your kids water shoes? If so, which ones do you get? I've been thinking about this on and off for weeks, and other things kept coming up as we were sick. And so it's the day before we're going and we have no water shoes. So if you have a brand that you absolutely love, leave a comment down below. Let me know what your favorites are. Also, do you have tips I missed? Are there other things that you think are important for people to know? Also, leave a comment so that I can learn from you next time. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.